Yo, what's up? We're back, and this is actually going to be a kind of a different video. It is going to be a predictions and breakdown video, but it's going to be for Submission Underground 13, Chael Sonnen's grappling event. So if you guys are into grappling, you'll like this video. If not, there is odds on this event, so if you want to make some money, hopefully I can help you guys make some money with these picks here. But it looks like we're going to be getting UFC back. I'm pretty excited. They have announced three events. May 9th, May 13th, May 16th. So there's going to be 3 events in 8 days, hopefully. I believe they announced the 2 main events are going to be Glover Teixeira versus Anthony Smith and Walt Harris versus Alistair Overeem. 2 fights that were already announced, but 2 fun, interesting fights that we can look forward to. They also announced Ovince St. Preux taking on Ben Rothwell at heavyweight, so that's another interesting matchup. But we're going to get into this one here. Chris Lencioni taking on Austin Daffrin. And obviously, if you guys are big MMA fans, Chris Lencioni, he's a Bellator veteran. He's a pretty good fighter, actually. He's been doing pretty well in Bellator. He's been upsetting some pretty big names. He has, taken some losses, but, he's a good guy. He actually, I believe, trains with Chael Sonnen, so he's been getting on these submission undergrounds. He faced Logan Skinner, was able to get the submission in overtime, and Logan is a black belt, but Lencioni, he isn't an elite jiu-jitsu guy, and he knows it. He's a good wrestler, good riding ability, good control, and, he got in top position in his match with Skinner. He was able to nullify the attacks, kind of controlled, didn't attack much, and just was content to go to overtime. He did try some footlocks, but that was really about it. Didn't really go hard for them either. And that's a smart strategy because if he takes risks against these higher level jiu-jitsu guys, he's likely going to get caught. Lencioni in the overtime period did do very well though. He finished from the back with the rear naked choke and rode up practically the entire 2-minute overtime period before that as well. He kind of submitted him in the last few seconds. And Lencioni, he's going to be the bigger guy. I believe he's going to kind of try to implement the same strategy here. Stay safe in the 5 minutes, go to overtime and win there. And Austin Daffrin, he's a smaller guy. He's a 125, 135 pound guy. Former MMA fighter as well. I believe he's 4-0 as an amateur, but I think he's exclusively doing jiu-jitsu now. I'm not positive on that, but he hasn't competed in MMA in quite a while. And he is a brown belt. He has been competing a lot in jiu-jitsu. He does have a good front headlock series, really good guillotine. He likes to play a bottom game, though. He'll attack the legs. He's good at getting that Ashigarami position. He's a Kimura hunter as well in scrambles. He'll use the Kimura to take the back, or he'll look for arm bars, rear nakeds. And if there's a submission, it's likely going to be Daffrin in the 5-minute period. Daffrin, he had a quick submission himself as well from the back in an overtime match that I saw him have recently. In this one, though, while I feel Daffrin is likely the better jiu-jitsu guy, I think Lencioni is going to be able to win in overtime via submission or escape time. I'm kind of nervous about Daffrin catching a submission first in the overtime or in the 5-minute period, but I'm going to go with Lencioni here to get it done. And looking at the odds on that one real quick, Lencioni is a decent favorite, minus 215. Daffrin coming back at plus 160. For me, that would be kind of a pass unless you want to take the shot on Daffrin, but don't think Lencioni is worth betting at minus 215. There's always a chance he could, get caught sleeping and get caught in a submission there. So, my opinion would be dog or pass, but I would probably pass on that one. And up next year, we have a pretty good match. We have Andrew Alexander. He's a 10th Planet black belt. He actually owns his own 10th Planet affiliate gym, and he's going to be taking on Ethan Krellenstein, who's a notable guy coming out of that Danaher Death Squad. And with this one, I haven't seen a lot of Andrew Alexander's recent matches, to be honest, but the couple matches I saw from him, he looks like a leg locker. I've seen kind of more diversity from Ethan. Ethan can play the leg lock game as well. He has a sick triangle off his back, great top game, and he's very slick when he gets to the mount or the back. He's really good at sticking the submissions. And the way I see it going is I think Ethan is going to defend some leg lock attacks, maybe get top position, take the back, and get a tap in regulation, or get a submission via rear naked choke in overtime. It's possible that he makes a wrong move, gets in one of these leg entanglements, gets caught, because Alexander is a slick black belt. There's always that rivalry between 10th Planet and the Death Squad as well. So they're both going to be trying to win this match by submission, I assume. Also, Alexander, he lost to a TriStar member in a match recently where Ethan trains as well. So he's going to want to get that back. But my pick is going to be Ethan Krellenstein here. And looking at the odds for that one, it is a little bit closer with Krellenstein being a -170, Andrew Alexander being a +130. That's another one where I would pass on it, but I believe, Krellenstein, I think he's going to win, but I would pass on that one as well. I don't want to bet him at that big of a favorite number, but I do think Krellenstein's going to get the win in that one. And up next here we have a match between Don Stoner taking on Alexander Larmy. And, Don Stoner and Alexander Larmy, they've actually grappled against each other a lot of times recently as well. And I was actually able to even watch one of their matches where it was really close, but Stoner got a late sweep, and it was a points match, and he won 4-2. I believe all the times that they've been facing off recently have been points matches. And Larmy has gotten over on Stoner the last 2 times they competed, but he beat him 2-0 on points, which obviously won't be a factor in this matchup. Stoner defeated Larmy on points as well in a match in 2019 that I just talked about. But, with all their previous matches going the distance, it's probably a safe bet this match is going to go to overtime. Stoner, more of an old school jiu-jitsu guy. He's a long-time black belt. Someone who likes to, play on top methodically, transition from position to position until he can take the back, where he has a really good rear naked choke, quick double leg as well. And in his last match at Submission Underground, he had a nasty transition. He faked a guillotine, transitioned to the back, and got the rear naked choke pretty quickly. He's also solid off his back with sweeps. He'll attack the legs. He definitely wants to get on top in order to submit, it seems like. But he's more of a guy who wins his matches by points. But obviously with this rule set, points are irrelevant. Larmy, he's a veteran of Submission Underground. He's competed many times for them by now, and he's more of a submission hunter. He attacks in scrambles. He'll attack all different attacks. He'll pull guard, attack the legs, arms, chokes. He really likes to, just flow in there, while Stoner kind of likes to control position a lot more. But, I just don't know. This is a no-gi match, so maybe someone will get the sub, but I feel, more than likely no one gets a submission in the 5 minutes and they go to overtime. I have watched multiple overtimes Larmy has been in, and he's struggled a little bit in certain ones, so I'm going to go with Stoner via overtime control time, but I'm not confident either way in this one. This is a close one for me. Looking at the line as well, it indicates the same, that it's going to be a close one. Pretty even odds there. Both don't have any dog money on them. Larmy, he's a small underdog, but he's still -105, and they have Don Stoner coming in -135, so pretty close matchup there in that one. Up next here we have one that I'm actually going to probably go through pretty quickly, but Nick Maximoff versus Joe Baez. And Nick Maximoff, he's an MMA fighter. He's been competing in jiu-jitsu pretty regularly though, but also a former wrestler. He trains with the Diaz brothers. He's a young kid, 22 years old, and he's taking on an older guy, a 35-year-old, but an established black belt, a leg lock specialist. And I believe Maximoff is only a purple belt. I couldn't find many BJJ matches he had, but I'm going to go with Joe. Joe's a veteran of the scene, known leg lock specialist, and, I just feel like he's probably going to be able to catch him in the 5 minutes. But like you said, don't have a lot of information on this one, and I believe Nick Maximoff here is actually a small favorite, so, that's one that I wouldn't advise betting on either way, because like I said, don't have a ton of footage on Nick Maximoff. I have seen, he does have a lot of matches on his YouTube channel, but they're from a year ago, so it's hard to gauge a little bit. So I'm going to go with Joe, but that's one that I'm not confident in either. This is another one I'm going to go through pretty quickly. We have the Golden Boy, Charles Gilpin, taking on Jake Smith. And, in the match that I saw Jake Smith have last in Submission Underground, he did attack. I got to give him credit. He went for a flying armbar. He was attacking some leg locks. Looked like he was having fun out there, but didn't look like he was the highest level jiu-jitsu guy. And, I just believe that, the Golden Boy, Charles Gilpin, he's really good. If you've seen him roll, really nice front chokes. He's good in the overtime periods. And Jake Smith was able to win in that match by getting to the overtime and escaping a lot faster than his opponent. Both guys were gassed out. In this one, I just think Gilpin is going to get the win. I think he's going to be able to find a submission in the 5 minutes. So, going to be pretty short with this one, but I'm going to go with Charles Gilpin. Probably via, a front choke of, some type of front choke. And looking at the line here, Gilpin is -170 with Smith coming in at +130. And to be honest, I actually like that. I would I might place a bet on that line on Charles Gilpin. That's my thoughts on that matchup there. And up next here, we're going to kind of breeze through this one as well. We got Gabriel Checo taking on Jake Ellenberger. And, Gabriel, he's a guy that's a black belt. He's established on the grappling scene. He's also a fighter as well. He's active now as a fighter. He's going to be the bigger guy. I believe he's higher level on the ground. And, I just don't see a lot of path to victory for Jake, man. I don't think Jake is going to be able to submit him in the 5 minutes. I'd be very surprised. I think Gabriel definitely has a chance to catch a submission. And, I feel like in the overtime period, that favors Gabriel as well. But, Jake Ellenberger, he is a competitor. He's a guy that is, going to be scrambly if he gets to the overtime. Maybe he'll be able to win via escape time. He might be, the better athlete of the two. But, when you look at the line, Gabriel is the biggest favorite. He's a big favorite, minus 270. And I think, that's correct. That indicates that he's likely going to win. So, Gabriel Checo is probably going to get the win in that one. And we have a good one in the co-main event here. We have Richie Martinez, one half of the Freak Brothers, the Boogeyman, and he's taking on Austin Vanderford. And Richie actually called out Austin after he defeated Jake Shields, who he also called out. Austin had a match with Jake Shields that he lost, but he did get a arm triangle submission his last time out in Submission Underground. Austin, obviously, he's more of a MMA guy. He's the husband of Paige Van Sant. He trains out there in Portland with Chael. He's a really good wrestler. He's going to be the bigger guy. And he's probably going to want to stall out the 5 minutes, get to the overtime period where maybe he'll be able to get the win on escape time or something like that. But Richie, he's a master of the rubber guard, great leg lock entanglements, just a slick guy. He has been submitted a lot in competition, but that's been against the best of the best. Against Vanderford, I highly doubt he's going to get submitted. I expect Vanderford to be on the defensive in the 5 minutes trying to get to overtime. The only issue is Richie's a beast in the EBIOTs as well. We saw him catch and submit Jake Shields with the armbar last time. I believe he's 5-0 in his last 5 EBI overtime matches. I just feel in the 5 minutes Richie's going to catch him, but if he doesn't, he's going to tap him out in overtime. I just think Richie's too slick for an MMA guy like Austin. So in this one, I'm going with Richie Martinez, and I'm pretty confident he's going to be able to get it done here. And looking at the odds for this one, it's one that right away I disagree with. Richie Martinez being the underdog against Austin Vanderford. I just don't think that's right. Richie's a black belt. He's competed against the best black belts in the world. Austin Vanderford, he's an MMA fighter. I believe he's probably a purple belt, maybe a blue belt. I'm not really 100% sure, but he isn't on the same level as Richie, and I just don't think he's going to be able to beat Richie in the overtime period. I don't think he's going to submit him, obviously. So I believe Richie's going to get the win there. Here we go. Up next here, we got the main event. We got one of the biggest matches in Jiu-Jitsu today. Vinny Magalhaes, the leg lock killer, versus leg lock master, and Craig Jones. And Vinny, we already know he already defeated Gordon Ryan. And in the post-fight, he came out, he said leg locks don't work. And he's a master of that leg lock defense, man. He's proved that against the highest level guys like Gordon Ryan, Gary Tonin. He's extremely aware of when he's in danger, where he isn't. He's really good at not panicking, not sitting down, not hand fighting. Instead, he fights the cross legs. And if he gets caught in that saddle position, he's just really good at just attacking the cross legs. He doesn't panic. And if you can stand and stack the leg locker, it's very hard for him to finish. They usually have to bail out or just allow you to stand up. And against Gordon Ryan, Vinny, he faced down when Gordon got that Ashigarami position. Gordon couldn't get him to sit, which kind of negated the danger. You have to keep, a strong base. That's crucial. But Craig, he's a master of the Z-guard, getting into that Ashigarami. And it's going to be sick to see how it plays out. Craig has submitted everyone very quickly so far in Submission Underground. But in the few times he's been to overtime, most famously against Gordon Ryan, Jones was almost able to get an armbar from the back in round 2. But Ryan escaped, and then Ryan submitted him with the rear naked choke. So in this one, it's going to be interesting because obviously Vinny's always talking about how leg locks don't work. Craig Jones is a leg lock specialist. He can use the legs to get to the back, get a submission as well. He's gotten flying triangles before, but mainly, everyone knows Craig Jones, he's going to go for those inside heel hooks, the outside heel hooks. Just a lot of leg locks and get you in those leg entanglements. And if he can tap you out, he's going to tap you out. But Vinny obviously prides himself on not being able to get tapped by those leg locks. And if it gets to overtime, I believe it's a 50-50 proposition because Obviously, Craig Jones isn't used to getting to overtimes. Vinny's, a very established guy in MMA. He's a big guy. And, if you can get those big legs, get that body triangle, I think it's going to be hard for Craig Jones to escape. I think he could potentially get a submission with a rear naked choke in the overtime. But my pick is going to be Vinny, man. I'm going to go with Vinny via EBI overtime, either control time or submission. It's going to be a controversial pick probably. I know a lot of people are big Craig Jones fans. They really like Craig Jones. He has been destroying everyone so far in Submission Underground. I mean, a lot of high-quality guys as well, but a lot of them have been, MMA guys, like I don't want to disrespect like Kevin Casey, Gilbert Burns, but those guys, obviously have competed in MMA. Kevin Casey, I guess you could say he's, he was more of a jiu-jitsu player in MMA. And he's, I believe, 100% jiu-jitsu now. I don't know if he retired, but he's not competing in MMA at the highest level like Gilbert Burns is anymore. But I mean, obviously, Craig Jones, he's beating guys like Keenan Cornelius, Jake Shields, Leandro Lowe. He submitted Chael Sonnen very quickly. So, he's a guy, he has beaten a lot of super high-level guys as well. It's just that in Submission Underground, this is probably going to be his toughest opponent by far. And, man, I'm feeling the upset. I like the odds here. Vinny is a plus 170. Craig's minus 240. I believe Vinny, he's going to negate the leg locks in the 5 minutes. They're going to go to overtime, and Vinny's going to find a way to get the win. So my pick for the main event of Submission Underground 13, Craig Jones versus Vinny Magalhaes, is going to be Vinny Magalhaes here. And thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Going to be getting back into the swing of things, hopefully, with these UFC prediction videos with some all that content that comes with that as well. So be on the lookout for that. And thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching this. And hopefully I can make you guys some money. Hopefully it's something you guys could watch during this quarantine time and, you can enjoy. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.